Unfortunately, nonprofit organizations are not immune. Happily, if you look at all of these, and you may know many of the organizations associated with these actual situations, fortunately, we haven't had a big one for the last several years. So hopefully that will continue as it has been recently. But we've had our share over the years. And I think it's important to understand why internal controls are something that you should be aware of. And this is one of those pictures worth 1,000 words idea. It shows the four major types of organizations and the degree to which they have been victims. They were victims in 2008 of what's called corporate corruption, which means essentially insiders hurting the organization through one means or another of theft. It may be not intuitive, but actually it's a sort of well-known secret that private companies are actually more vulnerable. Private for-profit companies are more vulnerable to insider theft than our publicly held companies. Why would that be? Why might private companies be more vulnerable in this area than SEC or publicly held companies? Yes?
They have more money laying around.
Well, they may or may not have more money. It depends on the company. And in terms of size, the publicly held companies are likely to have more money per se. But there's a difference between them. Anybody want to guess? I know your name is Bill now.
Bill. A lot of the private companies are small businesses, and there's a trust factor.
There's a trust factor, and there's another element that's not present in private companies.
No regulation.
There's no regulation in private companies the way there is with SEC or publicly held companies, and that regulation extends on throughout the organization. So even a comparably sized private company with a comparably sized SEC regulated company will have less of a control-oriented environment. Let's just put it that way. And so if it does have a much more control-oriented environment, it's because of something the company has done. Now, the interesting thing here is that, unfortunately, nonprofits are just, this is the first year that these guys have issued this. This came from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. And this is the first year that nonprofit organizations have edged out government in terms of the median cost for the cost of the various internal problems that they had. So we're at about 109,000, and government is about actually held steady at about 100,000.